Hi, I'm Anil Kumar, a shutdown turnaround expert in oil, gas, and petrochemical industries. In fact, turnarounds are critical events where uh, schedule, cost, and safety must align together for desirable outcome. The cutting edge technologies like drones are taking it to the next level. Today, I have the pleasure of having Frank Angley with me. Frank is having over 40 years of operational and strategic expertise in oil, gas, petrochemical, and refineries. Um, Together, we will dive into how drone technologies are transforming the way turnarounds are planned and delivered. Pleasure having you today with our discussion. As you know that we both are having extensive experience in turnaround maintenance and even in projects. So we are looking into that. What are the technologies and the practices which help us in basically improving overall cost efficiency, HSE, even decreasing the duration for the turnaround. So with that, today with a very focus, my idea is that how the drones technology can help us in improving our overall turnaround efficiency, HSE, and even the duration. So you can, if you can just introduce yourself, a quick one, and then your idea about the challenges we face in the turnaround industry.
Thank you, Anil. Appreciate the opportunity to be able to speak about the turnarounds. I've been in the industry in the Canadian area in North America for over 40 years and have been involved with many turnarounds and at many different sites. And the application of any type of new technology changes what we can do and gives us a new dimension as to how we need to approach work. So, and again, drones have been a big change.
Yeah, that's great. And I know with your extensive encyclopedic knowledge and the wide experience, you definitely have come across with various technologies. So, what's your experience on using drones, especially when we are talking about when we are doing the scoping of a turnaround, because that is the most important component of any turnaround. And we need to see that how we ensure that we don't leave anything, and what is really required to be done, we do that.
Well, the first thing in terms of the application drones that I've been involved with has been mostly taking work out of the a turnaround event and reducing that total scope, and basically being able to do the inspection outside of the turnaround window. And again, particularly when you look at flares and high elevation things. The other one is it allows you to easily, relatively low cost, to go in and do some initial inspections before you actually open the equipment and see what conditions are like. And it helps you understand what your scope could be and build upon it. And then the third one is once you do open up equipment, because of the drone's easy access, it can give you the first inspection in equipment or vessels or different things without having to necessarily build the scaffold, or allows you to understand what the expectations, or at the same time what may be some of the safety concerns of overhead issues, such as items that are built up above that could be a safety hazard.
Yeah, that's really adding value, especially which the areas which are inaccessible, like flare tips are there, or the top of the column are there, and sometimes it's really intricate component of the pipe rack. So that's really help us.
And
Uh,
it's a quick way of just going in and doing assurance that things are done, such as how many times have we left spring hanger or spring support chocks in and we've removed the scaffold and people aren't 100% sure. It's a quick way of verifying things. And that's where the big application is right now. But again, the technology has evolved, and I'm reading more and more about you know different things that can be done with drones.
Yeah, I do agree. And because any turnaround specific to turnaround, the moment we say that this work not to be done, that subsequently we do away with the cost, with the contract cost, the material cost, and all those things. So when we are talking about after selecting, having the right scope, the next part comes, and the challenging part is that the work pack, the detailed planning.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I
So
just want to add to what you were stating is that it's not necessarily that you don't want to do the work. What you want to do it is either in a most cost-effective means, because one of the challenges all sites have is, the more work you do during the actual execution actually increases your chance of not being able to meet your objectives on cost, safety, and schedule, and quality being met. So anything you can move out will help reduce that. Plus, the information you can get ahead of time can actually help you, as what you were saying is about getting the details ready for your work package.
yeah, I do agree. And in fact, in some of my experience and where we have the use cases, so we were able to exactly pinpoint that what exactly scope need to be done for a particular flare. So we had to make a decision that whether we need to replace the flare or we need to repair it. So with this detailed close inspection, so it had helped us, and we decided that okay, we don't need to purchase a complete new flare, and we need to repair and the extent of repair, and we were ready with the skill, the material, so all those things. So that was really quite helpful. Okay, Frank, one of the things, once we go into execution part, because that is where the every minute in turnaround is important. So what we have done is that one of the things is to the turnaround manager is that to really see the exact physical progress at site. So drones has given us a bird's eye view and close physical progress to turnaround manager, because in a refinery or a big facility it is very difficult to go, and that has really resulted into saving man hours and giving the more accurate progress. So what are the other things you feel that it is um, we can use drone technology in our turnaround during execution?
Well, I think it's one area that monitoring your work progress and things. And again, many a times the issue is around the accuracy of updating your plans, and having drones, especially in terms of elevated areas. It may be quicker to be able to do and check things and faster and just to verify. With any new technologies, and especially monitoring technologies, the real issue comes down to is you can collect the data, you can do the observations. It's just now, how do you use that kind of information, such as video? Do you use it as a punishing means, or is it just as a means of collecting data and trust but verify? And using it in a positive sense where people understand, yep, we've got good progress. And it gives you a quick sense of being able to verify something, and then you would need to further follow up and understand what are those limitations or where you're at. So I can very see, especially on a very large outage, where just the ability to respond can be very quick, particularly when you're looking at very high elevations. I'm getting older, and crawling up ladders are no longer my favorite.
Getting older is perfectly all right, but it definitely saves a lot of time, and it results into unnecessary HSE risk. Another thing, what I have seen, and in fact we have used, is that gas monitoring. So while issuing the permit, so for example, if we are doing the gas monitoring at top of a column, so where we have to do, so these drones are really helping us in minimizing the people AGT going there personally taking the gas test. So these drones are really helping. So that's in fact helping us to release the permit early, and which effectively helping us to minimize the overall P2P duration for critical activity.
Yeah. That's
So
interesting, Neil. That's one thing I have not seen so far here in North America is using drones. I've seen a lot of things, gas monitoring on a telemetry system where you have constant monitoring, but it's an interesting application for drones.
and the other thing is that what I feel is, for example, if we have to do only patch painting in some location. So this is something which we are testing now to get the right result, that we are able to use drone for a patch welding, so that we can do the blasting, the surface preparation, and the painting if it is a very small area. If it is a big area, so definitely it makes sense to do it manually. But these are the very patch areas, so I feel. So what's your opinion on that?
I think there's a lot of new applications out there, and again, it's that ease of access. It's that easy in, easy out type of thing where you don't have to invest, and even things like vessel or wall thickness can be measured using drones, and may give you the initial data through external inspections to give you the confidence to maybe extend a run or to look at and verify the conditions as you go in. It's again, anything else is the more data that you have, the more information you have, you can better formulate your scope of work, get your work packages prepared, and reduce the amount of discovery that you may have. Because one of the things that with any type of turnaround, what you're trying to do is manage your risk. And the more information you have and the preparations you can do ahead of time can give you an easier response and keep you back on track of your schedules.
That's true. That's true, Frank. And in fact, during execution, one of the things what I've seen is even compliance to HSE. So now with AI integrated cameras and with the speaker, so if anybody is not complying, like not wearing helmet or goggles, safety goggles or anything, so automatically it will give the instructions to comply to that. So
That's
those
an
type of
interesting
things.
application. I'm not sure how well that would go over in the North American population, but again, it's like anything else. It's
Mm.
when you look at safety violations and different things, it's not necessarily the individual. It's taking care of the little things that protect you and the big hazards. And so if a person is compliant on small things, it's now how do you use that in terms of encouraging people to follow versus punishing. And again, it varies from site to site and organization to organization, but it is a big plus and gives you a vaster ability to collect information. And it's now how to use that information.
Yeah, that's true. So definitely, as per our discussions, or there are so many applications, and creating cost efficiency when we are scope selection to scope definition, work pack development, and even during execution, resulting into cost and the duration as well. So coming on the other side of that, when we are talking about what are the constraints, what are the challenges of using drones into the specific to turnaround. So if you ask me, so definitely we need to comply to the regulatory requirement. So these are the things from aviation, the regulatory and within the organization, because it is hydrocarbon area. So what's your take on that? What are the challenges in North America?
Well, one of the biggest issues, and again, I can only comment in the areas I've worked, is the hurdle rate to get into using drone technology is the regulatory requirements. And I think it's a big decision on an organization whether they use a third party that's in and has all those certificates and licensing because they're using it all the time. If you're using it once in a while, maintaining that level of expertise and certification may be a challenge for organizations. So you have to first make the decision, do I take it on myself or do I utilize a third party? The second one comes down to is how is it accepted in your organization? Depending how you use it, it's like everything else. People would rather put their hands and touch on it. And can you build the confidence in people accepting the information you're getting as valid? On visual inspections externally and some internal, it's been well accepted now. As we move into the new technologies of, maybe like you said, doing some touch-ups or doing thickness inspections, it's been a bit of a new area and people still need to get comfortable with that. And then the last one, as you had mentioned about monitoring your workforce and different things, that's a big step. And again, as I mentioned before, it really comes down to is how are you using the information and how are the people accepting it? Nobody likes brother watching over them, but at the same time, it's if you're using it in a positive way, it can really help improve your overall safety.
Yeah, definitely. These are the constraints, and it's standard worldwide. The other thing is basically the acceptance of this technology by the management. So we need to see that we have the right business case. The the cost benefit analysis has been done for particular application. So I believe if that is done, the acceptance might be eye considering all the on the challenges. So just to conclude, so what's your take on that? What is your how do you advocate of using of drone to turn around professionals worldwide about and how it can drive value? What's your say to them?
As I've mentioned before, one of the key things is any new technologies that can help you access and reduce the first off the safety hazard, building scaffolds and all sorts of things, or cranes and baskets are dangerous undertakings. They're not dangerous, but have safety risks. And so if you can use it to access and get information, both visual at heights, it's something that can be taken to your advantage. The cost benefit analysis really depends highly on where you're at and what it takes to do. But like, as I mentioned, anything is the ability to reduce the amount of workforce on your sites helps you better execute because you can manage a smaller workforce better. But the biggest challenge these days is getting the individuals with experience that can do quality work safely is becoming tougher and tougher in a lot of jurisdictions. And any type of technology that can help get the information and help you reduce that will in the end help you execute, safely with high quality and to meet your cost and schedule.
No, I can't agree more than that. That definitely these technologies help us in overall cost efficiency, HSE, and even the duration. We need to be very to go in detail, we build the right business case so that the right technology for the right solution. So that's what I feel. So with that, I
Just
feel
one thing I'd like to add
yeah.
is, and with anything else, when you do apply new technologies, is always test it with a mock-up and work it out ahead of time to see what its limitations are versus trying it right away to do it at a if you're doing a special type of observation. If you can do a quick mock-up, understand your views, whether if you can actually reach the surface effectively, it helps you iron those things out ahead of time and be able to uh, execute successfully in the real situation.
Yeah, I do agree that any pilot or any mock test before the execution will really help us in what exactly to use, what type of drone to use at what location,
And
how it
what
will help,
cameras,
and yeah.
and especially when you get into things like thermal imaging and different things, that can really help you ahead of time versus playing around with it in critical situations.
Yeah, that's really great. So with that, I believe we had a great session. Thank you very much, Frank, for your time. I know it's a Friday morning your time, and what we have is the Friday evening starting our weekend. Thank you very much for your time. And
Well, I appreciate the
definitely, thank
opportunity,
you.
and Neil, and thank you very much for asking me. And
Thank
look
you.
forward to seeing you again.
Thank you. Looking forward to seeing you again. Thank you. Have a great weekend ahead.
All right,
Bye.
see you then.